Devon, what's this last 36 hours or so been for you?
Honestly, it's been all over. A lot of ups and downs, of course, but just today, in the moment, it was just a great moment to be with my team. I had great support from the coaches, staff, players, and it just felt great to be out there.
You obviously subbed in after the media timeout, but they announced your name and you get a fairly decent-sized crowd cheering out. Does that make you feel good about everything? I mean, how does it feel in that moment?
Honestly, I didn't really know how to feel. I hadn't played a game since last February, but just to come to a new home, a new place, and feel so welcome and see people that actually want to see me play, it was just a blessing, and I'm super, super thankful for the moment.
Brandon, seemed like a pretty aggressive team. I mean, what was that game like for you, and kind of how did you guys get over that hump and then eventually take the lead?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was our last stretch of that 3-game stretch of in-state teams, and playing in-state games are always more competitive. I feel like in certain ways, it's like every team wants to be the best team in the state, and we just kind of, I think we came out, just kind of a little soft, I guess you could say, and it was just really kind of. Coach got on our case about it, and we had to really pick it up. And I just think it was after that, first 8 minutes, the last 32, I think we just had that more of a physical, aggressive mindset that we were able to, to kind of separate a little bit, and they would close some gaps, but we just kept fighting that whole time.
Daquan, basketball-wise, how did you feel in your first game in a while, and what do you think you can build off of this game?
Honestly, it felt kind of weird to be back out there. I wouldn't lie to you. Just like my first possessions going up and down. But once I started to get comfortable with the guys, and I'm not really worried about this game. I think once I definitely get comfortable and we get our chemistry together, then we're going to be a really, really good team.
Brendan, what's it like for you and the other guys welcoming Brandon or Davon to the action and that sort of thing? Is that a bit of a process? What's that like for you guys?
I mean, we've just been excited. It's more for Davon, but it's been a roller coaster for us as well. Of his neighbors denied. Okay, now it's more of a waiting process, and then you see the tweet, and is it Canning plays, or you're not going to play this 14-day window now? He can. So we're excited. We're glad to have him out here. He just adds so much to our team. And yeah, we just gotta keep going and in practices, get him some more reps now that he's able to play, get some more chemistry going. But we're excited to have him out here and looking forward to what he can bring.
And Davon, what do your teammates mean to you, having gone through all of this?
Honestly, my 4 years playing is probably the best group of teammates that I've had. Just meeting them off rip, or even my visit to lead me here, way across the map, I felt an instant connection from the staff and players, and even just the state of Utah, as you can see today, it was super welcoming. So it's probably one of the best decisions I made, and now it's time to show why I'm here.
You had you check into the game and you get a steal essentially early on, and you had some tough D. Is that kind of what you see as part of your game, or what is your game that fans should be able to look forward to?
Defense, just anything to win. Winning plays, whether it's me scoring one night, me passing the ball as many times as I need to, anything to win.
Brandon, it seems like anytime Cava gets on the floor, something's different with the team. It seems like he brings in some energy. What is it about him that just kind of changes things for you guys, or does it?
Yeah, no, I definitely think he brings a different energy every time, and I think he might, because he has the body of a Greek god or something, but you feel confident next to him out there. If someone gets in a fight, Cava's got your back. You're not gonna lose. So Cava just brings that energy, and he's one of those physical guys. And so I think the way that you see when we see he competes out there, I think it just motivates us. Hey, we ought to take it up to how Cava's playing right now.
Brandon, you've invested so much in this program. Does something feel different this year? We can't see you guys at practice, but out on the floor, when you guys are playing together, it's different than it has been the last couple of years.
I would agree. I think this team is just one of the most unselfish teams. I thought last year was pretty unselfish, but this year I feel like it's even more we have guys that just want to win, and we don't have anybody that cares about stats or media or whatever it is. Just we want to win. We want to have the best success. We want to make it as far as we can, and so I think that's just kind of shows the maturity of this team, and what really is our main goal.
I know you have to take things a game at a time. That's the best formula for anything. But how excited are you just to see what you guys can do?
I'm very, I think our ceiling is still, very high, and we have a lot to improve on still, and I like where we're at. But I know that, we can continue to get better over, these next, we got a break before conference play starts, and I think we can get so much better before then too.
Devon, standing alongside guys like him, how much confidence does that give you, and how much does that build you up with good teammates?
I've always been a rebounding guard. Like on any team I played for, I had to make sure I rebounded. So, it kind of eases me a little bit attacking the board, even though I still like to do it. But him, Kaba, Ben, Lawson, they're just great bigs. Even without the bigs, our wings, the size we have, and just the diversity we have, I think we're a really great team.
It seems like Craig has a lot of diversity and the ability to where he can sub in, whether it's guard line, bigs, whatever. How much does that feel like it helps you guys, knowing that last year there were some times where you were looking at the bench saying who's going to play for us right now?
Yeah, like you said, last year had a little bit of depth issues, especially when Raleigh and Gabe were hurt. But this year, we have that depth, and we had a couple guys in foul trouble tonight, and I wasn't too worried about who we're going to have in now to help us out, because I just think we have the pieces to be successful, and we got guys who are willing to step up and can step up.
Well, that's a good win for us. We weren't great. We weren't terrible. A lot of that was Utah Valley. They're going to have a great year. They got a lot of good players. I thought they made it hard for us. We had some self-inflicted mistakes, no question about it. They really dictated out of the gate. I thought the first 9-10 minutes, they really took it to us and played with a ton of force. They were the aggressors. They were downhill, throwing it inside. Of course, we had another bank three that goes in against us. That's 4 that I can recall. I've never seen anything like it, but that's how it goes. At least we didn't foul on any three-point shooters today. But I give them a lot of credit. They were aggressive. Trevin Dorius, on a personal note, really proud of Trevin. I coached Trevin 2 years at Utah State. My second year there, he was a walk-on, and it was incredible how his progression went throughout that year. And just seeing him tonight, he's in a great, you could see, he's a legit 7'1", very athletic, very physical. He caused us some problems down there. I thought he just played with a ton of force, which is what Trevin does. I thought we did a great job on their leading scorer, number 25, Carawell. Give BC a lot of credit. BC and Ben were the two primary guys on him. Very good shooter. He's a tough matchup at that spot. And I thought BC did a great job. He ends up scoring, 12 points on 15 attempts, really 19 possessions, because he had 2 turnovers, and he got to the free throw line. It was a big key to this game, was eliminating him and doing a good job. The last 30 minutes of the game, we really guarded well. We really, really guarded well the last 30 minutes, not so much the first 10. Really where they scored consistently was off of our turnovers, and they got some offensive rebounds in that one stretch where they kind of hung around. And those are things we got to tighten up. We've been a good defensive rebounding team all year. We've taken care of the ball all year. So I thought some of those were just sloppy turnovers that we just got to, sometimes you get a little overzealous when you get a lead, and that's what this team's got to get better at. Just keep making simple plays, right? We did have 23 assists, which is a high-level number, obviously. So we just got to tighten that up. We just had too many careless ones in there that I know we'll handle better. But at the end of the day, I thought the last 30 minutes we really guarded. And then last thing, I thought Lawson Lovering was not good in the first half, and we addressed that at halftime. And credit to Lawson to not sulking and hanging your head and, coach is on me. He ended up like a real man and a professional. And I thought he was really, really good that second half. He played with force and aggression and asserted himself. And a perfect example of that was the and one dunk, right? I don't know if you call it a dunk because he got fouled by 2, and it just willed that thing down. And that's the kind of aggression a player Lawson can be. But you just got to go do it. Can't worry about all the other stuff. Just go and compete. It's all that matters. And the way he protected that rim, and then the number of times, you guys, that he had to got switched out into guards where he closed out, forced them into tough shots. It's hard to do for a center. I know I'm rambling on here. And then our other center, Keba, which you guys don't know, like it's just been a really unorthodox week for the Utes. Keba hasn't done anything basketball-wise since Monday. He's been sicker than sick. So he practiced on Monday, had a great practice. We had a really good practice, most game practices this week, but he hasn't touched the ball since Monday. So he actually came in, and normally I don't play guys like that. But Keba's just one of those guys. We all know what Keba does, and he can impact the game without touching the ball, right? And so he actually came to practice yesterday wearing a mask, just sat away from everything, didn't touch the ball, and just just where you at, how you feeling, right? All that kind of stuff. And sometimes guys don't want to play, maybe because their numbers might get affected. They don't know how many minutes they're going to play, right? They worry about all this stuff that Keba's one of these guys. He cares about his teammates so much, and he's a competitor and such a loyal guy that he just wanted to help his team, but he didn't want to let the team down. Like, that's what he told me yesterday after practice. Coach, I just don't want to let the team down. It's like, Keba, you're not going to let that, just go out there, and if you can do it, you can do it. And if you can't, we'll know right away. And credit to him, man. Like, guys, a lot of guys don't do that. And he just went out there, and he impacted the game. Played 10 minutes, and we were plus 15. So he played with a lot of force. Obviously, he fouled out, or did he end up fouling out? Yeah. So played with a lot of force, though, and truly impacted that game, not just from the physicality standpoint, but an energy standpoint. So credit to him. And then the last thing, and I know you guys have no questions after this, but just Daquan, right? Really, if you would have said a week ago when we were in here celebrating the BYU win, if you would have said, hey, 1 week from today, all two-time transfers are eligible to play. But, I mean, we all would have looked at each other like we're out, what? And so, Keba doesn't practice all week, except for Monday. Luka doesn't practice all week. That's why Luka wasn't here. He's sick. Ben doesn't practice, or barely did anything yesterday. So all of a sudden, and then Daquan, one day it looks like transfers are going to play. Maybe the next day, So you're trying to prepare for everything, but you don't know what's going to happen. And so I'm really proud of Daquan, how he handled everything through this whole thing. The last 3-4 days have been, Wednesday during the NIL, the thing that we had in our court, it was, right? And then going into practice, it looked like he was going to play. And then while our guys were lifting, nope, the NCAA comes out and says not going to play. Then, so we go into practice yesterday, he's not going to play. After practice gets done, the NCAA comes out with the next thing. So, it's just been, and kudos to Daquan, the professionalism he had, the way he handled it. I thought he did some really good things defensively. I thought offensively he was a little tentative, which, guys, that's, to be expected. He hasn't got hardly any, he played with our top guys in Spain. He played with our, BC and Lawson and Gabe, played with those guys the first 3-4 weeks of practice. But since then, we've had to kind of really tone it back. And that was going to be the plan on Thursday and Friday. But then as we go into practice, it was the opposite of what we wanted. So really, it was a difficult thing. So just a lot of unevenness. I'm proud of how we handled that. And these in-state games are tough. They're tough, meaning it's a tug of war. It's never easy. So really proud that we won. All right, guys. See you later. That might have been the longest one.
It seems like you're now to a point where you can mix and match pretty well on your lineup, whether it's guard play, bigs. How comfortable does that make you feel as a coach to know that you can kind of mix and match and especially get that going into conference play?
It's huge. I think, before the season started, I thought that was a big thing that we were going to be able to do with this team. I think very good teams have flexibility and versatility. You can play big, you can play small, you can play everything in between. And this team has that. And so we have our front court has crazy depth, and I think our back court does too now, especially. But we can play, these guys, it was very clear in the first half, they were really walking the ball up. Long possession, you know what I'm saying? And then I thought we were running hard in the first 10 minutes. Then we started walking. I was like, what are we doing? Get out and go. It's what we do. You know what I mean? We always want to be the running Utes, put pressure on our opponents. But we did. We did a little more. I mean, we always do that. if they have this person in, we can counter with this, right? This is a good matchup the way we see it. Now we can expose them this way. All right, these guys got these guys. Sometimes we're going to try to dictate it. Other times we feel like we can exploit things too and match up accordingly. And like I said, I think good teams have that ability to do that. And now with Daquan coming in, if he can keep progressing and do what we think he can do, that just gives us a whole different, dimension. But listen, you got to knock the rust off. I mean, like it's been a long time since that guy's played a meaningful game, and of course the first time playing with all these guys. So he'll settle in. He's a competitor. He's a veteran guy.
So with everything that's gone on this week, what does it say about the fact that your vets stepped up in the way that they did, Brandon, Gabe, and kind of led the way through
Yeah.
the sluggishness?
Yeah, so that's what we told our guys. We talked about Lawson and Caba, of course, and just kind of getting through this Daquan thing. And BC had an amazing look all week. It said that to the team. His voice was elite all week. There was no proverbial hangover from the BYU win. And I said that on the radio show Monday. I think I said that to the media, you guys on Thursday. Man, that kid's he's just come so far with his voice, because he was for lack of a better word, kind of a mute my first year, 2 years ago. And that's confidence, that's maturity, that's the game slowing down. But he had a great voice and a great week of practice. Gabe Mattson, I'm not sure we're talking about Gabe enough. That guy, his game, it's easy to see the numbers. We really separated, obviously, when he hit the corner three, hit that little kind of mid-range one, and then obviously, at the very end, when he hit we ran a little play for him, he hit the one at the top of the key. His numbers are elite, but it's not that. It's like he's become a complete player, playing off the bounce, making way better decisions, playing so much more physical. Defensively, he's done a heck of a job. I mean, he's just grown leaps and bounds with his whole game. He used to be just a sniper. Now he's a player, right? And the confidence he exudes, and that guy shows up every day. I wish he would talk more, but he just carries himself now like a real veteran and pro. And then Raleigh, we all know Raleigh. Like, Raleigh just brings it every single day, never has a bad day. Although he did have a zombie rebound where the shot goes up and he just ran in instead of boxing his guy out. So when Raleigh's doing that, then usually the team is going to do that. But your veterans have to do that. They got to be those guys. I thought Hunter was way better in the second half as well. I thought he was not disengaged, but just wasn't aggressive in the first half. In the second half, I thought he made some big plays for us. Hunter was plus I got nearsighted. It was plus 18. Is that right? And 0 for 3 from the field. So if you're plus 18, and I don't go crazy with the plus minus thing, but it does say something about it, what's going on the floor as well. But our veterans were big time today.
Cole Benjamin seems like he's struggled a bit offensively. How do you help coach? He's obviously a veteran player. He knows what he's doing, but how do you help him kind of feel comfortable?
Yeah, we gotta help him. He's such a flamethrower and such a weapon. He brings space to the floor. Certainly, you get him on one wing and Gabe on the other wing. That's certainly a topic of discussion as our coaching staff. Confidence is an amazing thing, but you gotta earn that too. Sometimes you just don't shoot it as well as you want to. That's part of it too. But if you're overthinking it, like Cole wants to make the right play. But sometimes if you're tentative or overthinking it, you're not going to knock it down either. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on. And then I do think sometimes when you add a different dimension now with playing Daquan in, and now that's 5 guards, right, that you're trying to play, which is good. I like to play 5 guards. Predominantly this year we've been playing 4. So now you kind of get in a rhythm through 9 games of when you're going to get in, when you're not going to get in, so now you get, and so hopefully guys aren't distracted by that, but we're kind of reinventing ourselves to some extent, right? Now playing one more person. And so, but we need to get him going. Cole's a good player, and he can bring a lot of good things to the table, and he has up to this point, but obviously it wasn't his best tonight.
When Daquan first got in, he was kind of the primary ball handler, and in the second half, it's a little more off ball. What role do you kind of envision for him?
Yeah, I think it's going to be both. I think we're gonna have to grow and see exactly. I do see him having the ball in his hands a lot. Like he can really make plays. He's got great speed. We want to race him up. He can race the ball up the floor. He wasn't doing that tonight like he can. It's one thing we told him at halftime too. Don't think, just go play. You know what I mean? Because he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to do the right thing. It's his first game, right? All this stuff, and so it's a lot. And then we just told him like, go play like you do in practice. Because you're really hard to get under control in practice, you know. So, but he's just trying to do the right thing, and you got to knock the rust off. But quite frankly, I think he's going to do both. I think he's going to be able to do both. Like we can still outlet to Raleigh, and the way he can run the floor and get to the corner. And now with our offense, now he's going to be coming off what we call DHOs, or he's going to be coming off ball screens and being a big time playmaker that way too. So I think we can utilize him both ways. But certainly he's played primarily the point guard in practice.
With your bigs, Brandon, Lawson, and Kaba, you have a lot of rim protection. What does that just do for your defense?
Oh, when you have rim protection, it just gives when you have rim protection and your bigs communicate. Now, and that's where I think Kaba's taken a huge step. And obviously he's become more skilled, but he's taken a big step with communication. That's where BC was not good as 2 years ago. He wasn't. And Lawson's always been a good communicator. So those three guys are our primary five men, right? And so when those guys are communicators, all those guards, because those guys are the guys getting screened on ball screens and everything. So those guys are truly the air traffic controllers, right? If the air traffic controller at an airport's not talking, there's going to be a lot of accidents. And it's the same thing with your five men. Five men see the whole floor, right? Everything's in front of those guys because they're usually the lowest guy. They can survey everything, right? The guards, when you're on top, you don't have a clue what's going on behind you. So you have to violently communicate, and then we can just make a mess out of the paint. I mean, Lawson, you saw a couple of those blocks tonight. That's what he can do. He just doesn't always do it. But he can do it. And Kaba can obviously do it. I think the official on that, the one he fouled out, I truly believe this. I said this. I think I said this to the TV guys before on the Zoom before the game. I think sometimes he gets fouls because he's so freaky that the refs can't believe he just did it. So they're anticipating it being a foul, but then you're just kind of like shocked. You know what I mean? Truly. And I see him every day, and I'm like shocked at some of the stuff he can do. So, and then BC's BC doesn't have as many block shots this year. Why? Well, it's because he's out on the perimeter a lot more guarding four men. But the last 2 years, he was on pace to whatever number, but he's on pace to be. He's still one of the all-time great shot blockers at Utah, but he's on pace to be he's number 3 in the country. So you have 3 of those dudes there. It can be intimidating and vaunting, and makes a huge difference if you can patrol that area without fouling. Ooh, now you make teams a lot more one-dimensional.
One more question. Your anecdote about practice this week was really cool. It's kind of an inside picture and guys being sick but wanting to be there for their teammates.
Yeah.
There's just so many signs that this team both loves the system and loves playing for each other, and that's got to be a pretty good spot.
It is a good spot. That's what it's about. It's a player's game, and as a coach, I've been doing this a long time. This is year 13 as a head coach. Certainly not perfect. A lot of mistakes. You're always growing as a coach, all that stuff. But the number one priority for me, 2 things: competitive spirit, and it's twofold. Competitive. Guys that compete and want to compete and are daring and not afraid to screw up, because you're going to screw up and then you get back up again. And the man in the arena quote, it's the best quote ever. And you're doing it in front of, but so many people, they're afraid to make mistakes in front of 3 people. You got to throw yourself out there in front of, 14,468 or whatever it was a week ago. And then a spirit, playing with a spirit and having a spirit about you. And this team seems very close. Now there's ups and downs. It's not perfect. But I think the team as a whole, we're super excited that Daquan got his waiver, right? But that's going to mean probably some less minutes for other people. And I don't know what that means for Daquan either, or everyone, but it is. These guys seem so close and so happy to be around each other. And you look at all that stuff when you recruit guys. It's easy to go spot talent, but do they fit? Do they fit our culture? Do they fit University of Utah? Do they fit Salt Lake City? Can they thrive here? Sometimes I worry I probably pay too much attention to that. I think our staff probably gets sick of it, that a little bit, but it matters. You know, when you go to the in-laws and everybody gets along, it can be really, really fun. But if you go to the in-laws and you have a couple, you know, like, oh gosh, I got to be around this person for 3 days. Oh, it's going to be miserable. Like, it matters. And we're all together, if you do it right, for 6 months of the year in season. That's not all the training before and after the season starts or the 2 months of the summertime. So cohesiveness is a real, real thing. And this team appears to have it. Now, we got, you know, we're off today, and I told our team it feels like it's 9 o'clock at night and it's only 4:15. Like, all the guys are like, yes, this is great. We actually get a Saturday night. I'm not sure what to do. But you're right. This team has it seems to have great chemistry, and we've gotten through some hard times. That's the good thing. We've had some hard times. I know only 2 losses, but they went through the ringer, and now this week was just a mess in some respects. And so, you know, we have 21 guaranteed opportunities left and got to make the most of it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a